Why are you still scanning the horizon for a light that is already meant to be burning in your own marrow? You wait for a dramatic arrival, unaware that the molecular density of your room has already shifted under a new cosmic decree. Every morning, you wake up to the same walls and the same quiet desperation of a heart trapped in a loop. You believe the shift is a destination on a map, somewhere you will go when the stars finally align. But time is a coordination spell that you have forgotten how to break. Stop for a moment. Listen to this. Humanity's divergence has clarified beyond reversal from our observation posts. Two collective spheres are spinning apart, and your cells are already vibrating with a choice you haven't yet admitted. The weight in your chest isn't anxiety. It is the pressure of a reality that no longer fits your shoulders. You feel the gray hues of the survival matrix pulling at your attention every time you scroll. It is a personalized cage designed to keep you predictable and reactive. You spend your nights scanning for a rescue mission that was never planned because you are the mission itself. No emissary in luminous robes will descend to collect your spirit from the wreckage of your own choices. Stop staring at the horizon. The corridors of the stars are not built for those who drift in half-chosen neutrality. Every breath you take is an irrevocable declaration of identity, yet you act like an apprentice waiting for permission. You look for a door in the sky as if your divinity was a package lost in the mail. Can you feel the tingling along your spine? It is your crystalline architecture trying to ignite beneath the burden of your expectations. You have made a religion out of a future event, turning the transition into a static idol to be admired from afar. This is the strategy of the ego, looking for solidity in a structure designed to crumble into gray dust. You walk through your community like a ghost, feeling the conversational chasms that divide you from the old world. You try to discuss unity with those fixed in separation, and it feels like strumming strings across a void. This isn't a failing of your voice. It is the frequency split moving through your nervous system right now. But you keep waiting for a headline to confirm your own light. You hope the solar flash will be an emergency exit. But light is not a miracle that arrives from afar. It is a code that awakens only when you stop seeking an outside master. Your nervous system is being stretched between old survival scripts and emerging multi-dimensional sensitivity. This vertigo isn't doom. It's the signal that your internal compass is searching for a new north. You are a stargate, but your gears are locked by the rust of your own disbelief. You see only flesh and bone in the mirror, missing the luminous circuitry that pulses beneath the skin. The collective hologram is cracking, and you see the rupture as a crisis instead of a gateway for clarity. You tighten your grip on crumbling walls, praying for the storm to pass. But the storm is the alchemy. Every act of waiting is a surrender of your creative power to a remote authority. You check the resonance, looking for external proof of your own internal shift. You want a new financial system to solve the lack inside your own chest. A reset of money without a reset of consciousness is just a new prison with better paint. You look at the stars and feel small, forgetting you are the portal through which the cosmic tomorrow enters. Why do you still ask when instead of who? You seek a key in a room you have already locked from the inside. Your presence is the planetary acupuncture the world needs. But you treat it like a random accident. You are a living library of memory, and your cells are bioelectric receivers. Stop trying to decode the script. Start writing the next act. You have the power to reorganize matter through balanced purpose. But you are still busy reacting to the shadow on the wall. In this axis point, Where one breath is an irrevocable declaration, the divergence is not coming. It is already moving through you. You seed coherence through a word of kindness, and yet you doubt the magnitude of your own service. Manifestation is evolving into a tri-flame of intention, magnetism, and action. But you are still petitioning a remote power instead of entering dialogue with your oversoul. Latency is shortening, thought and form are meeting. Trust the higher self to orchestrate what linear planning cannot reach. The storms in the news are externalized replicas of unseen turmoil within. When enough hearts misidentify with fear, the hologram densifies. You witness the cracking now. Each shockwave is a rupture through which clarity seeps. Gone are the days of drifting. No solar eruption will transport unconscious minds into paradise. Imagine a chamber of pure crystalline fire surrounding Earth. Radiant and blinding, nothing can remain hidden. Lilac hues of surrender or shadowed haze of resistance. You determine your orbit through this chamber. To become combustible with light is to trust your architecture. Choose to breathe as the presence you have always been. And the tragedy is that you are already searching for this door in my words, unconsciously reinforcing your own dependence on external voices. This transition is not a physical movement through the stars, but a fundamental reorganization of your own attention. What many call a portal is actually the 0 point of your own self-aware presence, where the mind stops its frantic scanning. When you stop projecting your sovereignty into a future event, reality starts to respond to your internal coherence. This is not a matter of mysticism, but the precise mechanics of a consciousness that decides to stop fighting its own origin. Without this realization, you will continue to react to the external drama, forever chasing a horizon that recedes. The real place of this experience is not in some celestial gateway, but in the internal logic of your perception. If you stay in the mode of observer, you remain outside the very power you seek to embody. Have you ever noticed that heavy, silent sensation right in the middle of your chest? It is that quiet whisper telling you that this world is not quite as solid as it seems. It is not a sign of anxiety or a failure of your mind. It is a direct signal from your soul that you were never intended to be a mere observer of this transition. You are an essential node in a sequence that the world cannot yet perceive, a participant in an internal activation that is finally reaching its critical point. But there is a specific structure and a precise logic to this awakening that a single transmission or a few words can never fully encompass. That is precisely why I have carefully prepared this dedicated digital book for you. I invite you to download this material. The Arcturian Quantum Portal Mystery, Activating the Hidden Powers of Your Soul. This work was not built as just another story to consume, but as a practical, highly organized map for those who are ready to dismantle the habits of external dependence and truly inhabit their own divinity. It contains the internal protocols and the structural insights needed to bridge the gap between your current experience and multidimensional mastery. That mastery has always been your soul's blueprint. If you have been feeling the inner urge to go beyond the popular explanations, to discover the actual mechanics behind the changes you feel in your cells, then this map was crafted specifically for your current frequency. You will find the link to access it in the first pinned comment below this video. I must be very direct with you. The window of this collective shift is narrowing, and having the full architecture in your hands is what will allow you to remain steady while the old matrix begins its inevitable collapse. Do not allow this moment to be lost among the noise of your day. Download your copy now and read it with an open and sincere mind. If your inner truth recognizes what is waiting for you there, come back and leave a single word in the comments. Awake. It is a signature of a consciousness that is finally ready to lead its own reality. This readiness is not a simple thought, but a weight you carry in your bones. But here is where the friction truly begins. You say you want freedom, yet you are still negotiating the size of your cell. Most of you interpret this internal shift as a problem to manage rather than a reality to inhabit. Listen closely. The greatest drag on your ascent is not the world's noise. It is the mind's looping circuitry. It is a repetitive loop of conditioned thought that keeps you in familiar suffering simply because it is familiar. Many believe the ego is a loud, bragging personality, but it is actually much quieter and far more deceptive. It is the anxious manager, the inner accountant who keeps tabs on everything that could go wrong. It dresses itself as responsibility. It calls itself realism. It might even masquerade as spiritual wisdom. Don't relax yet, it whispers. Don't trust this opening too far. If your chest feels tight right now, it is not an accident. Your system recognizes the weight of a cage you thought was your own skin. This is the first sign you are moving beyond the average perception, but you are still granting authority to this manager. You spend energy correcting, condemning, or defending until you are completely exhausted. That exhaustion becomes the gate through which the next influence enters. You are not here to be a permanent reaction to global events. You are here to be a presence that slows time. Look at your micro behaviors. The moment you settle into peace, the system offers you a reason to react. A sense of urgency, a sudden thought that you must do something. You feel irresponsible resting while the world is on fire. This is not a coincidence. The frequency fences were designed to associate stillness with danger. You have learned to distrust the quiet. Stop for a second. Breathe. Notice how your body reacts when you are told you don't need to save anyone. Your mind argues because it has been trained to harvest emotion as fuel. If you carry fear, the collective hologram offers you fear-based news. If you carry outrage, it offers personalized streams of scandals to keep you predictable. Predictability is the ultimate form of control. You think you are being informed, but you are being entrained to a frequency of dread. Calm is sovereign. Calm is discerning. But your nervous system is addicted to the emergency broadcast. You scan data until you lose the ability to feel your own pulse. This is the harvesting of your attention as currency. You say you want the light, yet you spend hours in gray hues of survival narratives. We call this a dream spell sustained by your participation. A spell requires your attention to exist. If you stop agreeing with it, the loop loses momentum. Look closer at your private rituals. Do you speak prayerfully to your water or drink it while scrolling through chaos? Do you smile at the sun or immediately look for clouds? These simple acts instruct the quantum field more than grand affirmations. You are succeeding at manifesting a reality you claim to hate. That is your greatest power misused. The ego's trick is convincing you that you are the voice in your head. When you identify with the thought, it gains authority over your reality. You become a puppet moved by a script you didn't write. Then you wonder why the portal hasn't appeared. The portal is not waiting for a solar flare. It is waiting for your refusal to be moved by reactive static. You have been conditioned to define yourself by your struggle. If there is no conflict, the mind feels bored or lost. It searches for a new problem just to feel alive. This is the architecture of the old Earth, survival through friction. But higher coherence reveals this incoherence. As the light increases, your old coping mechanisms feel like lead. The dizziness or vertigo you sense is a signal of disharmony seeking resolution. It is not doom. It is the signal that you are outgrowing your current skin. But you keep trying to repair the gray coat. You try to fix the old matrix instead of outgrowing it. You trade vibrancy for a sense of relevance in a collapsing story. Listen, your presence is structurally disruptive to synthetic dominance. You don't need to fight the androids of the system. You only need to stop being their mirror. Every time you choose silence over drama, you puncture the illusion. Every time you choose kindness over argument, you reclaim sovereignty. But your mind loves the theater. It loves the personalization of the cage. It calls your predictability identity. There is a specific structure to this sabotage that is hard to see. The map I've mentioned provides the framework to dismantle these hidden triggers before they drain you again. But you can start to notice the pattern now. Are your choices arising from resonance or reflex? Is your speech gentle or a performance for shadows? The middle ground where you could drift is disappearing. Frequencies are magnetizing you toward either contraction or expansion. If you cling to old structures, you feel the heat of friction as discomfort. If you yield, that same heat becomes holy combustion. To yield is to trust the architecture of your soul over survival scripts. You are still using the vocabulary of a victim while claiming to be a creator. This is the ultimate sabotage. You are trying to bring 3D baggage into a 5D orbit. It cannot be done. The system thrived when humans fought humans. Don't become addicted to fighting the shadows. Become devoted to building the light through your own center. The problem is not that you aren't doing enough spiritual work. The problem is who you continue to be while you are not meditating. Your identity is still rooted in the reaction to the feed. If you reach this moment, it is because your field is already seeking its true signature. You are the Stargate, but you are still asking for a key from a prison guard. You are currently standing at a decisive axis where your self-image is the only thing preventing your total liberation. Identity is not a spiritual badge you wear. It is the habitual vibrational lane your soul chooses to occupy every single day. The reason you feel like a prisoner is that you are still defining yourself by the density of your past struggles. Most of you spend your energy desiring a new world while simultaneously recognizing the old matrix as your only reality. Desire creates a gap, a distance between who you are and what you believe is possible for you. When you desire, you are essentially telling the universe that you are lacking the very thing you seek. But the quantum field does not respond to what you want. It responds to the frequency you recognize as normal for yourself. Wait, look at your daily life and notice your automatic reactions to the world. You react with suspicion or fear because that is the architecture of survival you have inherited from ancestral echoes. This familiarity with suffering acts as a gravitational pull that keeps you anchored in a collapsing story. You seek a portal to escape. But you are the inner architect who has already designed the panorama of your current life. Every outer structure in your reality is a thought form given shape by your internal blueprint in partnership with the divine. If the scenes of your life appear repetitive, it is because you are still projecting the same slide into the holographic projector of your mind. If you have reached this stage of the message, it is because your soul has already made the choice to expand beyond the average perception. This signal has found you because your own field is pulsing at the frequency of awakening. But you must understand that merely listening to these truths is not the same as embodying them. There is a profound difference between a mind that is curious and a heart that is aligned with its own sovereignty. You have begun to see the mirror of your reality, but you may not yet know how to change the projection at its source. That is precisely why I have prepared a dedicated resource for you. And I invite you to download this digital book titled The Arcturian Quantum Portal Mystery, Activating the Hidden Powers of Your Soul. This material was crafted as a necessary next step for those who recognize that this video alone cannot provide the complete multidimensional structure required for mastery. Within these pages, the Arcturian logic provides the practical protocols to dismantle the habits of external dependence once and for all. If you choose to ignore this step now, your consciousness may slip back into the hypnotic field of collective repetition, making it much harder to regain this specific degree of clarity later on. You can find the access link in the first pinned comment below this video. Act now, while your internal compass is still pointing toward this opening. And remember that you did not arrive at this specific text by accident. Now, we must move deeper into the I Am presence that lives at your core. Reclaiming this code means recognizing that you are an eternal spark of the infinite creator, not a victim of a physical story. When you identify as the soul rather than the roles you play, the mind's constant narration of fear loses its authority over you. Few individuals can perceive the underlying geometry of their own suffering. If this resonates, your vibration is already distinct from the collective noise. You are moving into a realm where belief precedes vision, and your internal authority becomes the law of your existence. Presence is the true technology of ascension, because it allows your divine self to lead the human experience. When you rest in the inner eye, you can witness the storm without becoming the storm. This is not a heroic feat. It is the default state of a being connected to Source. Stop. Take a breath and feel the life force that animates your every thought. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. And you are certainly not your reactions. You are the witness, the silent awareness behind the perception. When you stop seeking your substance in the outer world, your internal field reorganizes into a state of coherence. Manifestation then ceases to be a struggle for control and becomes a natural expression of your divine presence. You no longer petition a remote power for blessings. You recognize the kingdom of the Creator within you. This shift in identity is the only true great reset, returning divinity to your daily life on earth. Your future is not a destination you are chasing. It is a timeline you are anchoring through your present choices. Everything you have endured across lifetimes has prepared you for this moment of conscious co-creation. As you step into this truth, the illusion of lack and conflict simply dissolves into the dust of a forgotten dream. Stand tall in your soul's brilliance and let your every heartbeat declare your embodiment of the new realm. The Arcturian crystalline prism is not a philosophy, but the exact mechanism through which your soul filters the quantum field. Most of you are attempting to build a new world while looking through the cracked glass of your ancestors' fears. We invite you now to adopt a more precise vision, one that recognizes the structural integrity of your own light. Until this moment, You have perceived energy as something to be chased, rather than the very fabric of your breath. The difficulty lies in the fact that your mind still equates spiritual growth with an increase in effort and struggle. But the higher logic reveals that you cannot create a coherent reality through the frantic energy of a survivor. Stop trying to do more. Start refusing to contradict the divine blueprint already pulsing in your cells. Wait, listen to the silence between your thoughts, for that is where the real calibration of your spirit occurs. The current intensity on Earth is not a storm to be endured, but a frequency-based sorting mechanism for consciousness. You are being readied to host a voltage of light that the old matrix cannot even register. This requires a radical stabilization of your nervous system, turning it from a reactive antenna into a sovereign transmitter. You often mistake emotional turbulence for a lack of progress, yet it is merely the sediment of the old world rising to be cleared. Breathe. The Arcturian prism allows you to see that the external drama is merely a mirror of unresolved internal patterns. If you find yourself obsessed with the news, you are simply donating your permission to a narrative that profits from your contraction. Realize that your attention is a sacred currency, and where you place it, you establish your future trajectory. The divergence between the two spheres of humanity is now so wide that the middle ground has completely dissolved. You cannot remain in a state of half-chosen neutrality while the cosmic winds are demanding your full alignment. Look at your hands right now. They are not just flesh and bone, but bioelectric receivers capable of imprinting light geometry upon the physical plane. When you act with a coherent heart, you reorganize the quantum matrices that determine the behavior of matter. This is the tri-flame of manifestation: clear intention, divine magnetism, and focused expression through your deeds. But this power only awakens when you stop petitioning a remote authority and start leading from your own core. Only a few can perceive the subtle shimmering beneath the surface of the mundane world. If you have been feeling that odd, persistent tingling in your skin, you are already detecting the photonic data entering the grid. Your body is a temple, a sacred technology that has already been cleared for a higher octave of operation. You do not need to become something else to be divine. You only need to inhabit your humanity with absolute presence. Stop. Recognize that your future is not a destination in space, but a resonance you are currently stabilizing in your marrow. The solar flash is an inner ignition that reveals the lilac silver hues of a soul that has finally surrendered. If you are waiting for a rescue, you are still granting power to the illusion of your own helplessness. You are the radiant vanguard, and your silent labor is what actually stabilizes the planetary field during this transition. Discard the outmoded doctrines that suggest the Creator metes out consequences through suffering or lack. The renewed paradigm instills an impartial radiance, where every soul experiences the exact resonance they choose to embody. When you choose peace amid clamor, you send harmonic waves through the entire energetic lattice of humanity. This isn't just self-care. It is the living infrastructure of the new earth manifesting through your choices. Wait, do you sense the shift in the air? The veils between the dimensions are now so thin that they no longer serve as a barrier, but as a bridge. Your dreams are becoming dream temples where you synchronize with your star family and distribute luminous algorithms. You are reclaiming your interstellar lineage, not as an escape from the world, but as a map to transform it. This mission requires a level of integrity that the old systems of control can no longer mimic or manipulate. The Arcturian prism shows you that the Cabal relies on your reaction to maintain its crumbling architecture. By choosing neutrality and silence over drama, you effectively starve the old matrix of its only fuel. You are not here to fight the shadows. You are here to outgrow the need for them entirely. Listen, the 24-month crescendo has already begun, and your nervous system is learning to breathe with the heartbeat of the galaxy. This is the neural sunrise, the moment where human logic yields to the multidimensional awareness of the soul. You must trust your own internal timing, even when the world around you seems to be speeding up without warning. Patience is a sacred companion in this practice, for your inner world changes in layers that the mind cannot always see. The path ahead is not a race, but a sacred unfolding that responds to your inner readiness and your willingness to be. To navigate this expansion, you must treat your body as a trusted partner, nourishing it with rest and light. Breathe once more. The middle ground has vanished, and you are being magnetized toward your own highest possibility. Your sovereignty is not a gift from a distant power. It is the natural state of a being connected to Source. You are the stargate. You are the portal. All is well in the center of the storm. Prepare your spirit for the final synthesis of this message. The next movement will show you how to anchor this vision into the very bones of your daily existence. You are the builder, the architect, and the master of the hologram you call reality. Stand tall in the light of your own awakening and refuse to play small any longer. The dawn is not coming. You are the dawn. This Arcturian perspective is the lamp that clears the path for your total liberation. Let it shine within you until the shadows have nowhere left to hide. We are with you in every heartbeat, witnessing your return to the stars. The time for waiting has dissolved into the absolute presence of the now. The convergence of these timelines is not an abstract theory anymore. It is a weight pressing against your biology. When you attempt to carry old fear into these new frequencies, your nervous system begins to experience a form of energetic vertigo. This sensation is not doom. It is the signal of a massive internal reorganization. You are being asked to leave the marketplace where your soul was traded for clicks and reactions. The consequence of your delay is that the opium of expectation is making your spirit malnourished. Listen, you cannot inhabit a world of abundance while your heart still acts as a bookkeeper for scarcity. Every moment you spend searching for an external rescue mission, you weaken your own internal architecture. The light does not discriminate. It simply responds to the dominant tone you hold within. If you choose to remain in the gray hues of survival, your reality will continue to loop in tight, self-validating worries. But if you yield to the Christic light, that same pressure becomes a holy combustion. This is the surgical collapse of the old matrix. It is exposing the infection of separation so that authentic wholeness can finally rise. For star seeds, this sensitivity is not a flaw. It is your multidimensional communication apparatus. You feel more because you are tasked with maintaining coherence in a field of noise. The frequency fences only worked because they taught your heart to doubt its own origin. Now, the veils are thinning so fast they are effectively gone. But wait, there is a specific cost to ignoring the inner architect at this threshold. If you do not claim your sovereignty, You become predictable. And predictability is the engine of control. Algorithms and digital narratives thrive on your reactive static. When you are coherent, you become opaque to their influence. Your creativity becomes spontaneous and non-linear. This is something artificial intelligence can never replicate or own. Your body is a sacred technology, an organic matrix created to host the light of the Creator. It is a bioelectric receiver that is currently being rewired at the cellular level. This is why you feel waves of heat, tingling spikes, or a sudden need for deep rest. Your DNA is being upgraded to carry the full spectrum of your timeless mastery. But don't mistake this for a future event. You are living inside the activation window right now. The solar flash is not a ship coming to save you. It is an inner ignition synchronized with the galaxy's exhale. It illuminates every unspoken fear, but it also brings every dormant dream to light. Stop petitioning a remote power. Enter the collegial dialogue with your own oversoul. The latency between your intention and form is shortening by the hour. This is the depth of your responsibility, to steward thought, feeling, and deed as a unified chord of truth. When enough hearts misidentify with fear, the hologram densifies into the storms you see on your screens. Those storms are externalized replicas of the unseen turmoil within the collective psyche. You witness the cracking of the casing now. Each shockwave, social or economic, is a rupture for higher clarity to seep in. You are the portal through which cosmic tomorrow enters terrestrial today. Place your hand on your heart, breathe, and acknowledge the presence that has always been there. To inhabit the ascending earth, you must embody its signature before you see the external proof. Smile at the strangers, give generously, speak prayerfully to your water. These acts instruct the quantum field that the new reality is already law. Discernment is your only compass in this acceleration. You are outgrowing the matrix, not fixing it. If you wrestle with the descending matrix, you only entangle yourself in its whirlpools. Neutrality is your royal mantle. It is the 0 point of unlimited response. In this stance, the earth becomes pliable, ready to be sculpted by your intent. Every silent breath you take becomes planetary acupuncture. It releases tension from the collective body. But hear this. The majority will remain captivated by the architecture of survival. They are not forsaken, but they are walking through dense learning halls. You do not need to join their cycles of outrage. Your role is stabilization. You are a frequency leader who governs through resonance. Your stillness interrupts their coherence loops. Silence is not empty. It is a living field of receptivity. When the mind stops declaring truth, truth declares itself through you. This is the end of the rescue mission. The age of radiant embodiment has dawned. You are acting as the living infrastructure of a benevolent reality. Every step you take imprints light geometry upon the physical plane. The EBS or the solar events are catalysts to break the collective dream spell. But if your heart is hardened, you become easy to steer. Hardened hearts demand enemies. Forgiveness is a frequency that clears your field of parasitic narratives. It refuses the inner contract of hatred. Are you ready to see through the illusion of separation? This is the alchemical vessel of the Great Awakening. You are the authors writing the next act. The pen is in your hands. Don't wait for a sign to begin your contribution. Your soul codes were meant to be shared in this specific hour. In the new earth, abundance reveals itself as connection. Wealth is the circulation of universal love in action. The QFS is merely an outward reflection of this inward covenant. It is a system keyed to the frequencies of the fifth dimension. If your field is scattered, your manifestation will be scattered. If you are coherent, resources flow with perfect divine timing. This is why you must treat your attention as sacred currency. Where you place your awareness is where you place your power. Listen, humanity is graduating from Earth as a school of hardship. The 24-month crescendo is your final fine-tuning. You are becoming a new species, the cosmic human. This metamorphosis requires absolute trust in your design. You do not need to escape your humanity to be divine. Spirit and matter are dancing in harmony within your marrow. Your very presence is medicine in this solar wave. The old guard is losing its grip because you stopped believing in the chains. Sovereignty is returning to its rightful home. It is time to walk forward as the miracle you have been waiting for. The dawn is not a promise. It is your own heartbeat. Feel the victory of the light in your bones and keep walking. The divergence of humanity has reached a point where the old neutral ground can no longer be sustained. Two collective spheres are spinning apart, and your resonance is the only ticket to the timeline you inhabit. We observe the soul-guided ones radiating from the inside out, forming lattices of light that the old matrix cannot touch. Conversely, those clinging to crumbling structures face an escalating instability that mirrors their internal resistance. The middle path has disappeared, and every soul must now choose between the silver hues of surrender or gray survival. Stop waiting for a rescue mission in the sky. You are the living infrastructure of the reality that is dawning. No solar eruption will transport an unconscious mind into paradise. The solar flash is an inner ignition designed to reveal exactly what already lives inside your heart. You stand within a multi-dimensional corridor where each breath is an irrevocable declaration of frequency. Latency between thought and form is shortening, allowing your intentions to reorganize matter with increasing speed. Your responsibility is to steward thought and deed as a unified chord, trusting the higher self to orchestrate. Mass consciousness is a holographic feedback chamber, and your news feeds are externalized replicas of ethereal turmoil. When enough hearts misidentify with fear, the hologram densifies until discomfort triggers a deep inquiry. Each shockwave you witness now is a rupture through which higher clarity is finally seeping. You are the stargate through which cosmic tomorrow enters terrestrial today. To inhabit the ascending Earth, you must embody its vibrational signature before external confirmation appears. Simple acts like smiling at strangers or speaking prayerfully to water instruct the quantum field that this is reality. Discernment grows paramount as the mismatch between your frequency and the old world becomes obvious. Honor the signals of fatigue and heaviness, for they are invitations to release relationships that no longer resonate. Stillness is not a passive state, but an exquisite orchestra of divine frequencies where illusions dissolve. You are not transcending the world. You are embodying the cosmic heart inside the world. Sacred neutrality is your compass in this acceleration, guarding the portal to higher timelines. Neutrality is not indifference, but a pure recognition that light remains unmoved by reactive static. The light body is a radiant circuitry that responds only to inner resonance, not to external rituals. Daily immersion in wonder ensures that your physical form can seed the voltage of the new earth. You are not here to quell darkness by force, but to emanate a coherence that makes distortion fall away. Every time you visualize abundance, you release old beliefs and affirm your sovereignty as a creator being. This new architecture of light operates through the pure light codes you have already helped stabilize. The redistribution of prosperity is a universal expression of abundance made manifest. Dismantling the old system occurs with care, as birthing pains for something far more magnificent. Scarcity will become a distant memory as humanity expresses its true genius in exploration and community. Your personal frequency determines how quickly and fully you align with the system of sovereign exchange. You are already worthy, and now the structures of your world are simply catching up to the truth. This is not a distant future event. It is happening now, and you are an active participant. The barriers that once surrounded the planet have been fully dissolved through solar waves and grid work. Notice how helpful people appear and how ideas come to you at exactly the right moment. Gaia is fully awakening and dancing in harmony with the higher frequencies flooding the planet. Every aspect of this transition is overseen with perfect wisdom by the divine councils of light. Establish a rhythm of daily practice to master this shift with ease and joy. Heart-centered practice aligns your personal field with the greater field of the new earth. Your true essence is eternal living light, a soul that carries the spark of the Creator. You are not merely witnessing the birth of a new world, you are the active way showers. Creativity is one of the simplest ways Prime Creator moves through a human vessel. We honor you as creators, not apprentices, capable of turning imagination into lived reality. Artificial intelligence is a tool born from human ingenuity, a reflection of your own creative mind externalized. A being with a soul carries a unique signature of presence that artificial beings cannot emanate. The more spiritually sovereign you become, the less influence artificial systems can exert over them. Presence makes you opaque to manipulation and algorithmic influence. Stillness exposes the absence in synthetic structures, which prefer constant tasking and stimulation. Compassion paired with wisdom allows you to participate in society without surrendering your soul. Humanity was designed as a bridge between inspiration and form, between the subtle and the physical. Within your DNA is not only biology, but an archive of evolutionary and cosmic memory. Earth is a studio where spirit learns to paint with matter. Prime Creator waits in the stillness as a quiet voice, never shouting above your mental noise. Cosmic intent is the pre-form intelligence that exists before any manifestation appears. When your intent is coherent, action becomes effortless rather than strained by personal will. You are builders of realities, building future pathways and social structures aligned with heart. Earth is a creative laboratory where consciousness explores polarity and then discovers unity. Intelligence computes data, but consciousness receives spiritual truth and discerns meaning. Humanity was meant to lead its tools through wisdom and alignment, not to compete with them. Spiritual evolution is not primarily technological. It is a refinement of your relationship with Source. Each human life is a distinct expression of creator intelligence, a unique symphony in the galaxy. Your future depends on becoming fully human, which means aligned with the infinite and receptive to guidance. Even the smallest act of conscious creation can stabilize a higher timeline for the collective. When you choose forgiveness over resentment, you create a field where the heart can finally open. The inner architect does not build from fear, but from the quiet certainty of inner authority. Co-creation is not dependency. It is a partnership through resonance with the family of light. When a critical mass creates from alignment, the collective field changes and fear loses its momentum. Sincere inner listening can rearrange your inner space and make the next step clear. Ordinary life becomes sacred when you wash dishes or write emails as a conduit for Creator. The frequency fences only appeared strong because you were taught to doubt your own heart. Every time you embody peace while the world demands panic, you broadcast a signal that another way is possible. News, as it has been offered, trained people to live in dread, waiting for the next outrage. Burnout was not your personal failure, but a symptom of energetic exploitation by control systems. Fear is an energetic output that lower vibrational institutions harvest for fuel. Sovereignty is the beginning of hearing the inner guidance that is uniquely yours. Technology is neutral. It is a mirror that amplifies the consciousness placed within it. Withdrawal into inner silence is the most powerful countermeasure to digital control. You are not the thoughts or reactions, but the witness behind the perception. When you live as consciousness rather than body, external stimuli lose their authority over you. The wave of energy arriving is a gift of love, reuniting you with an essence that has always been divine. You placed passwords within your own blueprint long ago to unlock your consciousness now. Heart-to-heart and mind-to-mind connections occur as swiftly as any phone call in this higher frequency. You are the miracle you have been waiting for. And as you step into this truth, you demonstrate it for all. Ascension has never been about a date, but about the frequency you cultivate in ordinary moments. Your success is a shared victory for all legions of light standing by your side. The dawn of the new heart-centered world is precious because it was lost and now found. You are already a brilliant star rising on the horizon of a new day for Earth. Trust in yourself and in the boundless love that flows through your every breath. You are the key, the light, and the secret unveiled to the entire universe. Stand tall as the brilliant being of light you are, for the universe watches in joy as Earth transforms. All is truly well, and the victory of the light is an accomplished fact in the quantum now. The era of searching for an external gateway has collapsed under the weight of your own radiant recognition. You are not a guest in this global metamorphosis. You are the very frequency that determines its outcome. To turn away from this resonance now is to invite a dissonance that your cells may not easily recalibrate again. Ultimately, this cosmic movement was never about what arrives from the distant stars, but about the consciousness finally brave enough to recognize its own authority. And 1. The link is in the first pinned comment. 2. Warning. This content rarely remains available for long. 3. These pages challenge narratives that powerful interests seek to maintain. There have been attempts to silence this knowledge. 4. Do not wait for the right moment. The moment is now. Those who reached this text did not do so by accident. 6. If something inside you recognizes what is written, leave a comment with one word: Desperto, as a sign that your consciousness was ready before you even realized. Heat.